Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you for those who listen to these videotapes because so many of you have said you've enjoyed it. It really helps me and spurs me to continue to do this, which is not something I would naturally do, but I'm driven by helping other people. But today, let's talk about potential. What if this little girl in front of you, or little boy, if you could imagine the potential of what they could become years from now and helped because of something you did for them to make sure that they'd be successful? That's a powerful notion that you have that ability to do it. We all have that ability to do that. I thought I'd share first the story of the cartoon I provided. The little girl looking in the mirror, that was me when I was 6 years old wearing a little Navy uniform. Probably picked up because my grandfather was a famous sea captain. And then being able to grow into someone who defied the odds, did things that other people didn't expect. Stay with me for it. And at the end, you'll really want to have how we can help ourselves and each other, believe in ourselves and each other, and help us live into the vast potential that we have. And so the story begins with the mirror. It shows the little girl, 6 years old, and that was me. And at that time, I had two older brothers. I think of the stories of the different kind of animals that grow up together, right? They can't look at themselves and say, oh, that's who I am, but they can look at who they hang out with. Let's just say it's a duck hanging out with a chicken. They don't know the difference, but they're buddies. But the difference is the duck will probably fly away when it grows up and the chicken won't. But that doesn't stop them from having a great relationship. I've seen it with chickens and dogs or all kinds of animals. We're human beings on this planet, and having potential. As a little girl, we were pretty much relegated to doing certain things. But my father never did that for me. He never closed the doors. Maybe it's because I had brothers. I was always allowed to do football and things like that. I guess I would say even in school, academics at that time, I was lucky because girls were allowed to be in school and encouraged to do well in school. I did well in school. But that wasn't for everybody. Not everybody is able to see their potential. We've heard stories of people who are dyslexic who were told that they were dumb in school. They were not. It's just they learn differently. And the same with autistic children. They learn differently. I know that the standard is we want them to talk. We want them to have a normal conversation. Well, if they're highly functioning, maybe. But that doesn't mean everybody. I watched a podcast for someone who the child had not communicated and would get frustrated, have very strong emotions. She was in her 20s, the child, on an airplane. The parents never gave up. They kept trying different things, innovative things to help her communicate. When she got off the plane, the latest attempt was working with an iPad. Something clicked after she had a complete meltdown in the middle of the plane. Can you imagine a fairly older child in her 20s having a meltdown on the plane? Coming off the plane, was handed an iPad. A lot of training had gone in before that, but from that point on, she was able to communicate through the iPad. That young lady remembered everything that had happened to her, every person who had treated her badly, every situation she had been through. She was able to turn that into poems with her mother, and they wrote a book. You just never know what resides within each of us. Now, Tony's asking a question, would potential come out when it's ready to be revealed? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure I can answer that completely, but I will say that the potential may come out naturally, but certainly nurturing it and putting yourself in the situation, things can happen. For example, this young autistic girl is having this iPad to communicate after working in frustrating times, but never giving up, saying we're going to really work this until the end. Also, some of you know that I wrote a book called Why is Pono Not Pono Today that came out of a talk that I gave to our nearby college, University of Hawaii at Hilo. I used the cartoons and they became their own story. It's about a bull that grew up very sweet, kind, loving, and helpful. People were mean to him until finally he just couldn't take it anymore. What looked like anger to everybody else, it was just him, like our autistic kids, venting, having steam, not able to cope. Luckily, he had a little friend called Kuleana who helped him get back to his best. Now, I won't tell you the story, but the whole point is by the end of the story, Pono and Kuleana are back as a team and working well together. And that's what we want to do with people, that potential working together. I had a donor who gave me enough money to give a book to every elementary school child in a local elementary school in Hilo during COVID times. A lot of restrictions were going on, but we were able to give every child a book. I trained all the teachers first in how to really use the book. And one fifth grade teacher, Emily, sent me a picture. She told me I had a young boy in class today. One of my students came up to me. I had given all the teachers a book from my pocket. He said, "Can I use your book, teacher? I need to look at it." And so he took a look at the book, and then he looked up at her and said, "I feel my mental stability slipping away, and I want to respond, not react." I feel my mental stability slipping away and I want to respond, not react. And that is a huge lesson of what I teach. It's the essence of teaching people that no matter how stressful your situation, we want to respond coming from a place of love as opposed to reacting from a place of survival mode where we make very bad choices. This fifth grade boy, autistic. They know. The kids know. I wanted to get it in the hands of children that it made a difference with. We may discount people. A lot of times people are discounted because of the way they look, all of these things. Believing in your own worth is the first step. You have to believe in your own worth. It's easier when other people see it in us and they encourage us, even if it's only one person in a sea of naysayers. Like I had in the military. How did that little girl lead combat so many years later? I had a strong base from my family. Not everybody does. Love and support. Not at the very, very beginning, but very soon I had someone who believed in me and trained me and helped me see how I could hold tight to my values and be my best no matter how difficult the circumstance, and believe that I could do something. I could make a difference. I could help other people in ways, and we could accomplish things that I could never have imagined as a child, including a $2.1 billion construction program in combat. I mean, who would have thought that? They didn't think of our graduation from West Point, we should be in combat. Women shouldn't go. It was a huge global debate, not just a national debate. There were a lot of venomous people who were just spitting at us and telling us that this was wrong, trying to turn people against us because of what we were, not who we were. Because if you factored in who we were, you would realize just how much capacity and capability we had. I may have shared this before, but I have a sweatshirt. It says, "Underestimate me, that'll be fun. Underestimate me, that'll be fun." It has helped me see, yep, they're going to underestimate me. I'm going to have fun with this. This is not going to be something that I feel offended. Because as soon as you feel offended, you've gone negative. How does that help you? How does that help you be your best? How does it help you access your capacity? Because when you go into survival mode, it's like turning the valve off to your wisdom. Boop, I'm no longer going to think. Now, we'll talk about choices later, but potential, vast potential. I suspect we haven't tapped more than 5% of our potential, either personally or understanding what's going on in the world today, or understanding what's happening in space, or then narrowing it back down, just understanding our brain capacity, what our bodies can do. We are only at the tip, a little bit. But when we approach it in a very positive way and we nurture, encourage, then that really unlocks so much. Now, I have had someone tell me, I have to tell you what's wrong with you because no one else will. And all I can say is, I have learned that no matter what, if you judge positively, no problem. But if you're going to judge harshly, you need to think again. Because if you're going to judge harshly, you're not going to get what you want. In fact, I call that an interception strategy. Watch the strategy session. The interception strategy, you're going to get exactly what you don't want. You could be right. You could be right, factually correct. But the fact is, are you making things better? Potential is all about making things better for us individually, for us as groups, for us as a society. Believing in your self-worth is definitely a first step. And the other thing is about, I am on a steep learning curve. I am constantly learning how to do things. This video is a classic example. I didn't know how to go live on Facebook, but I pushed a couple buttons. Next thing I know, I was live. Other people encouraged me, go ahead and go live. This is what you want to do. So I'd like to now stop for a moment and talk about an acronym to highlight some of these things and maybe a few more stories. The acronym to go with potential is BELIEVE. BELIEVE is the acronym. What is the B? The B is believe in your worth. Your potential begins the moment you do. That's how you can unleash it, unlock it. I think that's pretty clear. E, embrace growth. I was just talking about embracing growth because your potential is realized if we're constantly learning, if we're adapting, stretching. If AI has taught us anything, it's that we don't want to be ignorant, unknowing of what the capability is, because it can be used for harm, but it can also be used for greater good. We want to stretch beyond what we know and see what can happen with it. AI has helped me. I'm a novice at this, but I'm learning as fast as I can to use it and getting great support in doing things that I was stalled with, couldn't do it. L, leverage strengths. Use what makes you unique. Your natural talents are your launch pad. Now, I just did the Gallup strengths with Eddie Villa. He does it a little bit different, well, a lot different than Gallup does it, but it's about knowing your strengths, which we have much of, and how to use them in ways that can improve our situation. One example is my worst is discipline. So coming to you every week, doing things consistently and wanting to do it, I tailor things for every person I meet. So discipline is not one of those things that I go to, but I can understand that and then work with that. I don't have to go against it. I'm not so good at it. Can you believe I was in the Army for 34 years? But the discipline in Gallup is a different definition, just so you know. What's the I in believe? Inspire. Inspire yourself and others. Can you do that every day? I saw Tony was on here earlier. I know he does. He has amazing skills, and his gardening, mammoth, squash, and other things. He does things. I consider myself, I call it a black thumb. I kill most things. People have been encouraging me to fertilize things, which might help. But the thing is, some people, that just comes so naturally, and they have this talent. Leverage those strengths and inspire yourself and others through what you do. What's the second E? Explore possibilities. So embrace growth, explore possibilities. Stay curious, stay open, always learning. Those of you who are listening, thank you. It's because you're curious, like, what the heck's you going to say today? I don't know. It's flowing out of me because I feel the need that our potential is so vastly underutilized. So explore those possibilities. Your new path might surprise you. It doesn't matter what age, oh, by the way. I was reading today a 6-year-old is the youngest person to ever get a patent. Let's see. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb at 32. So those in the 30s, look at there. Huge, huge success there. 65 was Colonel Sanders. He's just a little bit younger than me. So Colonel Sanders, at that age, started Kentucky Fried Chicken. You don't know what's possible unless you try. And you don't want to have regrets. I will stop for just a moment to talk about regrets, because you don't want to live your life and then have them. Let's see. When I find it, I will give it to you. There were 5 regrets that came out in one of the books. Let me see. 5 regrets. It was things like they wish that they had spent less time working, especially men. They wish that they had spent more time with their friends, relationships. They wish they had shared their feelings. They wish that they had more courage to try things and do things. Those are the kind of things regret. So explore the possibilities. As long as you're breathing, it's not too late. The V, value persistence. Most people who know me know I will be persistent. If there's something that I think we want to change because it benefits everyone, then I will be persistent. Because the real potential often lies beneath those setbacks and hard work. Events are disguised. A lot of people today think they're going to get it easy. There's no easy button. I don't have my easy button. There's no easy button. So we want to value persistence. Just because someone's been trying for a long time, please do not discourage. If they still want it and try a different way. I think of the Mission Impossible movie we just saw. Ethan in the movie, obviously there's always something he and his team will come up with and figure out a way to do it. When you have that kind of mindset, that's where persistence pays off. You want to keep at it because that will allow you to explore more possibilities. And the E, we want to elevate together. It is so important to help each other rise. And when we do that, just like we say, we all rise. We do that as well. So potential is not a straight path. It's not easy to realize it in many cases. People may have natural talent, but if they don't train with coaches, not going to happen. But it's there for you. It's there for all of us. Today, what I'd like you to do, believe in yourself, believe in others, and take one small step. Figure out that one small step and please share it. What's that small step that you can take on your path to greatness that's awaiting you? I look forward to hearing more. Aloha.